Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode from the Lair. And today I'm going to be going over a couple of subjects. I got some real interesting emails of late, and they are really so stupid that I have to talk about them. All right, number one, this was from a female.
I don't think your vid can't cut the mustard is biased towards men. It is not realistic that only 4% of women in the population can meet the Army standard.
Well, the infantry standard is 12 miles full gear, 3 hours or less, because that's what war planners use to plan maneuvers on the battlefield. A 200-pound man really doesn't have much problem picking up another 200-pound man and carrying him a quarter of a mile if need be to a medevac. Or reaching into, I don't know, the top of a tank where it's just a hole about this big and you have nothing but upper body strength to pull the guy out. And you're talking about his body weight and all of his equipment with him because it's all strapped on. So, am I being, biased here? No, I'm just telling you the truth. This isn't a game. I don't understand why why they fought this so tooth and nail to have women in frontline combat units. But I mean, you could have experimented with NFL or soccer or something first, where you don't have people's lives on the line. Arms, legs being paralyzed, killed, ripped apart, or better or worse, just dying because you had to go back to get somebody who couldn't carry their own weight. And sure, I mean, there's probably 4% of women out there that can do it. Okay. There is, but when you're talking about industrialized warfare, you're talking about a lot of numbers you need to put on the field as fast as possible. So they do that by, take everyone that gets out of high school at 18, 19, 20, boom, they send them to basic training. Most of the men will make it through the first time go. So in 3 to 4 months time frame, you could have, I don't know, a couple million dudes on the ground, at least basic infantry level qualified. Now, if you were to do the same thing with women and take 1 million women that just got out of high school and put them in the same thing to make the same standard, 4%, maybe less, would probably make it. And then, when you are in a war type situation, you need to move 12 miles, 3 hours or less, any terrain, every day, all day, until you die, they give up, or you get rotated to the rear. And that could be anywhere from 1 day to, 3 years. I mean, there were guys in World War II who just did it day in and day out. And they got to where they're going. Every night they dug a hole, they slept in a hole, they got up, they filled it in, they walked out another 10, 12 miles. It is what it is. It's combat. There's nobody there with a striped shirt who's going to throw a yellow flag, penalty on the plate. I mean, you get hit, you're done. Arms come off, legs come off. I've seen some pretty horrific shit.
Thanks for the dating disparage vid. You should do another and go into more detail.
I was really actually thinking of doing that. Because in today's day and age, the men out there, you're getting scoped out from the minute you walk into a bar or anywhere where women are, especially single women. I don't know who trains these women, or if it's this instinct, but they're sizing you up from the very beginning by what kind of car you drive, the clothes you're wearing, rings on your fingers, watches. I don't know, maybe it's instinct for them, but whenever you tell them, I'm going to college to be an architect, I want to be an attorney, they already know in the back of their mind, what you can do and what money you're going to make in the future, and. And I remember there was that one Prager University video. It says, marriage is good for men. I know, as somebody who's been married, I'd have to say no, unless it's a true 50-50 kind of thing where you pull your weight, she pulls her weight, but it's seldom, if ever, is that. So, it doesn't, in my opinion, having a yoke thrown over your head and blinders put on and whipped in the back to make yourself 15, 20% more productive. You spend more time at work so you can bring more money home, and then the quality of your life, goes to shit. I've seen a lot of guys just get burned out doing that. I had one of my friends, I won't say his name, he worked for an ambulance company, and he was literally working for 2 ambulance companies, and at the same time, and doing double time at one of them, just so he could pay the bills for, his house and his wife and 2 kids that were at home, and all she did was pull the pin on the fat grenade. And, one thing led to another, and he jettisoned the pussy anchor and got on with his life. It was very painful, and it is what it is. All right.
Did you abuse your now ex-wife or beat your kids? Because I find it hard to believe you were removed from your children's lives for nothing.
How many dudes out there been divorced and been turned into a visitor to see your kids? Okay. I saw all you guys out there raise your hands. Millions upon millions of dudes out there going back 3 generations who, all of a sudden you're on the front porch, you're paying all the bills, and you get to see your kids 36 hours on the weekend, twice a month, and then, you get that 2 to 4 hour block in the middle of the week where you take them to fucking dinner, which we all know that's a bunch of bullshit. So, fuck off. That's fucking insulting. And it's 85-15 where, the woman gets custody 85% of the time, even if she is a convicted whore, drug addict, alcoholic. I mean, you pretty much have to have CPS come and she has to fail like 3 inspections before they even put the kids in the foster home. And you're lucky if they even call the father to let him know that this shit's going on, because he's so far removed from this. It's absolutely insane. And one of the main reasons I'm doing all this is because I think that's absolutely fucking disgusting. I think if you're the father of your kids, you should have access to them 50% of the time in the first option in any fucking divorce, be it cordial or adversarial. It doesn't fucking matter. And if that earns me the title as a woman hater or whatever you want to label me, that's fine. I don't care what people think about me, because once you care what people think about you, you will forever be their fucking slave. I'm using the F word a lot because some of these questions are pretty edgy and they're kind of getting me spun up a little bit here.
Okay, here's another one. What did you get to keep from your divorce?
Oh, are you asking out of the kindness of your heart? That's right. I think I took a futon, the massage chair that's sitting behind me, and that's pretty much it. I took my personal effects, books, and clothes and stuff, which, by the way, her family packed up all my shit, went through all my stuff, and put it in the garage when I was away on duty, which, I consider a personal slight and totally disrespectful. My former father-in-law, he should just feel shame over the whole goddamn thing. I didn't have the swords back then, but I had a hell of a lot of guns. Most of those are gone now. I only have a few, and they're in storage at a friend's house. I don't keep any here in New York because I'm gun compliant.
All right, somebody asked me, what are my thoughts on mercenaries?
I've been able to do what I do in the Army, and I've lived with it because, it's in defense of your country. Some people say I'm a slave or whatever. I'm a fool for being a blind idiot. I got it. Okay, now I hope to God that I don't have to become a mercenary if I ever retire from the military, because I don't think I would be able to live with the after effects of some of the shit you have to do in that line of work. Now, if I'm, just being a guard somewhere on a motor pool and I'm not doing any crazy stuff, I don't think that's much of a problem. I could even probably do personal security detail work, where you just, you're a bodyguard pretty much, bullet sponge, what have you, because I'm an old gunfighter. And there's some truth to all this right here, and you need to really be aware of the old man in a profession where men die young. Because that old salty motherfucker's got a few tricks up his sleeve, and he won't fight clean, he'll fight dirty, and he fights to win. Just remember that, you young bucks out there. There's no upside to fighting an old guy. You beat his ass, you'll forever be the guy who beat up an old man. And if that old dude so much as scratches you, you'll be the guy who got his ass kicked from the old man. So buy that old man a beer and listen to him run his fucking mouth, shake his hand, and walk out, and you'll be better for it. And you actually get wiser.
Worst combat injury I ever saw.
Holy shit, this is a bad one. The Panama invasion, 1989, I came in across a ranger who landed so hard he was folded in half over his own legs and pelvis. He was deaf. He was a paraplegic at a minimum. I think he did survive, but that was horrible. And I remember when I came across him, a medic got there about the same time as me, and he was saying, "Oh God, please kill me." And I can say this, that if I was in his shoes, I would want somebody to put me down. I don't think I could survive being paralyzed, you can't write this down. You can't write it down ever, but you talk to all your guys in your company and you ask them a simple question. At what point do you not want to survive? Most of it was, paralyzed, quadriplegic, mine was 2 legs. If I lost 2 legs, that's it. Just take the clamp off, give me an extra morphine. No one would know the wiser. You'll never make it back, and your family will get the money, and you won't have to move on. I know it's horrible, but this is the reality of war. All right, as a first sergeant who ran troops in a war zone, that is something you need to be aware of. You can't write that down anywhere because they'll think you're a villain of some type, but that's just the way it is. There's a lot of people out there now who are surviving injuries that, 15, 20 years ago shouldn't have survived. And there's probably a reason for that. That's the worst combat injury I ever saw. No, I've seen worse, but I'm not going to go into detail. That brings back a lot of rough ones there.
Do you still play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes. As a player, no. My buddy, I call him Pete, his sons love the game, and they like it when I run it for them. So I try to get back there, when I'm seeing my kids, to spend, Thursday night with them, and we run through a few scenarios, and they really seem to like it, and it brings back a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings from my past. Oh, here we go, another woman hater. Oh my God.
What is your problem with women? Do you have a poor relationship with your mother?
Can anybody say shame there? That's exactly where this is going. Right down the roller coaster of shame.
You had a poor relationship with your mother, and it's obvious you have mom issues.
Mom issues. Wow. Well, I was raised by a single mother. My mother did the best she could. She probably could have done better, but I was just a kid at the time. Didn't have any father influence in my life. My mother is still single to this day. My father left when I was like 4. I never saw him again. I think I talked to him on the phone like 3 times. I got my ass kicked a lot, and, I deserved it. Looking back on it, I'm glad I got my ass whipped, because it probably wouldn't have gone anywhere good if I didn't. When you're 8 years old and you're ordering M3000s to your house, COD or with a check or money order that you get from taking back bottles. And back in the day, you could order that shit from the back of a comic book, and an M3000 was 1/3 of a stick of dynamite, or the equivalent of. I was blowing up shit in the backyard, and, it doesn't go well when you're 8 years old, so. Somebody asked me an economic question here. I like these.
What is your take on the $15 minimum wage at fast food restaurants?
You have had your politicians agreeing to have jobs pumped out of the country at crazy exponential speeds. Lost the textile mills, the steel mills, they shut down the coal mines. We have a bunch of car companies that are moved overseas, and all of the jobs that could give you a middle class or lower middle class wage are gone. So people are looking at these fast food restaurants saying,
I want to be able to earn a wage, a lower middle income wage, slinging hamburgers at McDonald's.
That model was never designed for that. Everyone's getting mad because these fast food restaurants they don't want to pay $15 an hour, and they're replacing people with kiosks and what have you. Why the hell are you not getting on the phone and going fucking nuts, getting on some of these senators and representatives who are allowing these jobs to go, God knows where, outsourced to the 4 corners of the world? I mean, come on. Take some goddamn responsibility and quit blaming shit on other people. It's unfucking believable.
Why do you not have 1 million subscribers yet? Your shit is brutally honest and funny at the same time.
I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around how this whole, subscriber thing works on YouTube. We're trying to find some other platforms. But at the end of the day, I mean, I can only do what I can do on one dude. If you want this channel to go nuclear, every time I put a video out there, especially the ones on Friday that, require a lot more prep time and producing, you need to spam that shit to the world. You jump on Facebook, share it 100 times. I have 1,000 guys doing that. That's some damn good marketing. And, I think I bring something of value to the equation. You have to excuse me. I'm getting over a cold, and it kind of went down in my chest there. So yeah, I mean, if you want to see me get 1 million subscribers, that'd be great. I mean, I tell it to you straight, and I try to tell it to you in a funny way so you don't forget it, and it doesn't sound like a fucking lecture, because nobody likes a goddamn boring lecture. But, you throw a couple fucks in there, asshole, bitch, blah, blah, blah. People's ears perk up. That's just the way men are.
What is your take on the nude pics of the female Marines posted on Facebook?
Okay, I read the article, and these Marines are like, they're not going to re-enlist, whatever. Now listen, the Marine Corps, pound for pound, when those people come out of basic and AIT training, 0311, that's an infantry, when they come out of infantry school as a Marine, they are pound for pound the best combat soldier right out of the forge. Bar none. Period. It beats the Army hands down. Because there's a lot of traditions that the Marine sticks to that the Army is backed off of. I'm not trying to, bash you guys. But what you don't know about the Marines is they have terrible retention rates as it is. They dump all that money into the commercials and make it sound like it's, great. And then you get in there and they treat you like shit. They work you like a dog. And you feel like a whipped mule at a fucking, a Mennonite home or something where it's, tilling the fields all day. I mean, I was straight leg infantry, motorized infantry, airborne infantry, and we never humped a 50 caliber on our goddamn backs. Are you out of your goddamn mind? They fucking do that shit. God bless them. I don't want to do it, but the Army, they don't catch up to the Marines until, they get to their home unit and say they go to the 82nd Airborne Division and they do some more training, and probably takes a good 18 months for the soldiers to catch up where the Marines were. And another thing I noticed, because I was in country in 04 for both of the Fallujah fights, and I noticed, because there was a map on one of the alternate TOC, because they always have to keep 2 TOCs running at the same time in case they have to fall back or whatever. And they had the whole city of Fallujah, and it was broken down in his combat lanes. And there was some Army, and there were some Marines. And at the bottom, they kept a tally of all the wounded and killed. And I was looking at the numbers, and I'm like, what the fuck? The Marines were taking 30% more casualties. I'm like, that is just fucking wrong. And you could hear the difference in the radios. Like, you'd hear the Army unit.
They're like, oh, we're taking fire. Oh, we're going to hunker down and call up the tank.
5 minutes later,
oh, the tank is here. We're going to start shooting now.
And then they go and do their deal. When you hear the Marines, they're like,
we're taking fire. We're assaulting.
I was just like, I literally, they had to uninvite me from the TOC because I couldn't stand in there and just witness that. It was a horrific waste of young human beings. They quit halfway through the first Fallujah, and then, the second one. I mean, whenever you have to fight the same battle for the same goddamn battle space, you basically, all the people who got wounded and killed in the first one, you just threw their lives away or their health away for nothing. All right, that really bothers the shit out of me. All right, you have to give me a moment here. I gotta go get me something to drink, and then I'll read you a poem. You guys caught me. Gotta take energy drinks every once in a while. I wrote this when I was in the Ranger Battalion back in the day. Through shot and shell, through brimstone's hell, into the howling hole, to fall from above and float like a dove, and fight like a man with no soul. To rage with desire and feel the fire of first hand to the fight. To summon forth death, waste your last breath, and send him forward to fight. It was my greatest moment and shame to laugh in slaughter's name and know the glee of battle and blood. I gave as good as I got, and should not have seen my very next day. For I spat at death and gave myself up to die, and I was shocked as he kindly passed me by. Not a day passes without that moment in constant replay. I shall always remember my deeds on that grim day. I hope you like it. I mean, I can't really memorize it. My memory's shot. So anyway, I love the shirt. If you like this shirt, you really want to piss some people off, check out the links below. Race Riot Apparel. Get some for yourself. Winning. Remember, guys, wear rubber. Take it with you. Don't go to the ground. Nothing good happens there.